And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Kwentong GK. I'm your host, Donna Reyes. And this evening, we have a special couple. They have been volunteers with Gawad Kalinga USA since 2005, so almost 2 decades. And in a little bit here, we will hear from Jeff and Myrcia. Happy. And so, but before we get to that, I just wanted to congratulate GK Chicago for its first GK Hope Ball that happened last Saturday. And since I'm based in Chicago, on behalf of GK Chicago, I'd like to thank everyone who came and supported our first benefit GK Hope Ball. It's not our first benefit dinner. We've had tons of benefit dinner, but GK Hope Ball actually started in Houston, Texas, with our GK Houston team over there. And we copied the template, right? We duplicate, right? And so we all had fun. The band was amazing. All of the volunteers worked tirelessly to make that event a success. So congratulations to everyone. And also thank you to everyone who came. And there were people who came from Houston, Jeff and Myrcia. There were people who came from Houston, people who came from California. So we appreciate the love. All right. So with that, Jeff and Myrcia, welcome to Quantum GK. How are you guys?
All right.
All right.
All right. So, well, so you started with Gawad Kalinga back in 2005, right? So can you tell us what about Gawad Kalinga, I guess, interested you or inspired you to be a part of it?
I'll go ahead and start, and she'll correct me. That's the way it goes. But you know, when a Oklahoman goes to the Philippines, the first thing you notice is that not everybody has a home. Not everybody lives in a comfortable place. And when Myrcia's Ate told us about GK, we became interested, and we became somewhat active. Oklahoma is the middle of nowhere, and but it is halfway between Chicago and Houston. And we've had a number of GK people stop in Oklahoma to spend the night when they came from Chicago and they were headed to Houston. And one of the people that stopped by, one group, everybody was named Boy. I had trouble with that one. But the second time, Dylan Wilk was in the entourage. And we set him up giving slideshows. And I watched his slideshows. At that time, he said before and after. And the third time I saw the show, when he was about finished, I just lost my cool and I started crying. And I said, we can help. And so at that point, we started to be more active, and that led to lots of changes in our life. And we copied the Hope Ball, and my wife will tell you about. Well, we did not copy the Hope Ball, but
we did not.
We've had 4 or 5 Hope Balls here in Oklahoma, and have brought in people. Tony Elias came one time. We've had a number of entertainers. One of my favorites that I met at a GK meeting in Las Vegas was Asia Sampson, I think is his last name. The spoken word poet.
Yeah.
And he's come, because he's my favorite, we've had him twice in Oklahoma, but we've had a number of fancy banquets. Hope balls, and whereas I thought we were copying Houston, I'm told we weren't. But
I think it's okay to copy because whether I don't know if you did or you did, but I think it's okay to copy too because that's what we did in Chicago too. Because it works, right? And I think you take a campaign like that, like on a national level, kind of like Wow GK. I think the bank that you're have you been part of you have to be part of GK already when we were doing Wow GK, right? Because you guys started in 2005. So Wow GK is a national a benefit dinner thing. So we had it done in key cities across the US, like Chicago's one of them, and LA of course, and there's got to be somewhere in New Jersey, maybe like in the East Coast, right? So so it's something that Tito Tony sort of toured, right? Him and Dylan Wilk. Yeah, you're right at that time. Okay. And maybe that was the event you guys attended, where Dylan Wilk spoke.
Yes, but I'm old. All these things blend together now. But Dylan is one of my favorites, because he's also an adopted Pinoy. So, he was an inspiration to me. Yeah. And I like to say, because he's much younger than me and much more handsome, when he gave his presentations, all he had to do was say "Diba" every so often, and the women fell in love with him.
That's so true. But so did your older men like you fell in love with him, not in the romantic sense, but him loving, the Filipino the way he did. Obviously, he eventually married Ana Meloto, right? He did fell in love, romantically in love with a Filipina, but he loved the Filipinos, and the Philippines even before he and Ana got together, right? And a lot of people were really moved by that, by how passionately he talked about the Philippines and how he would tell us that, just like the Filipinos, just like gold, right? If if it's been on the ground for years and years, it's been tossed and kicked and what have you, with all the dirt and everything, right? You would see the shine. It's shine, right? But when you take out all that dirt and you polish and everything, then that inner beauty of the Filipinos come out. So that's something that always stuck in my head, and that's something that I've had quite a few people on the program here already who've been, I think, going on 3 years actually in September. This is our 3rd year, and that's what they always say too, is that how they are moved by a non-Filipino, like you said, Jeff, an adopted Filipino. I would say an honorary Filipino, right? Okay. An honorary Filipino, not by blood, but by affinity or something.
Well, one of the first people that we met that took us and led us into GK was Philip and Linda Punsalan.
Yeah,
they were the ones that guided us
and
into the work of GK here in Oklahoma. So it was Tita Linda. She used to be the GK USA South Central Regional Director.
Yes.
So she was the one that really walked me through, because that was new to me. Everything was new, though back in the Philippines, my family has already started doing the work. My parents were CFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my sister is Handmaid of the Lord. So they were the ones that's, pushing me to do something here, to fund the work.
Speaking of Tita Linda, they just recently they broke ground on somewhere in, I think it's Cabiao, somewhere in Nueva Ecija.
In Nueva Ecija.
Right? Yeah. Are you from Nueva Ecija, Myrcia?
My dad is from San Jose, Nueva Ecija.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm so excited.
They turned over a few homes over in, I think it's Cabiao. I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong for those of you who are watching. And we actually sent my videographer, director, who does videography too. My director friend, Direk Jepoy Myrcia, thank you for covering that event for us. And I just saw the rough draft of the video. It's so inspiring, like how people who were recipients of the homes were, really grateful for having, the opportunity to own a home, right? And, they said that they lived in, some by the river, like where it's not really safe to pitch a house there, but that's where they live. And now they're in a much safer place, and now they're paying it forward, helping other people as well. So yeah, we're very happy at that. We are dedicating that in the memory of Tita Linda Punsalan, who's been tireless and compassionate, so soft-spoken Tita Linda was, right? And we dedicate that village to her. So speaking of, so you spoke a little bit of your background, Myrcia. So you guys have the you also focus your work onto Hope Philippines. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay. We started Hope Philippines when we commit to participate with the Wow Paskuhan, Wow GK Paskuhan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our very first one. So I call that our first Hope Philippines. And I started, I was inspired by how the entertainment and the work goes together. People will really come to your event if there's entertainment. So I started doing that. Started with 2008, the Wow GK Paskuhan, and then 2009, that's when we built our very first GK village in, we call it OKGK Village.
Oh, nice.
In Tagum. Yeah, so the reason why...
Where's Tagum? Sorry, for those of us
in Davao.
Davao.
Yeah.
North of Davao.
Yeah.
So it is a beautiful village, and I might, would like everybody to see it and come visit. And then in 2012, we did Hope Philippines 2, we call it HP2, to benefit Sendong. Yeah, so in Ian. So, and then 2003, we had Hope Philippines 3, Poetry and Music. We had Stephanie Rees and Asia Sampson, spoken word poet. And that benefits the Typhoon Pablo victims in response to the calamity response fund.
So you built your first village in Tagum in Mindanao, but you just mentioned, a couple of minutes ago that you're from Nueva Ecija, your family's from Nueva Ecija. So is there a particular reason why you would build in Mindanao and, not in your hometown? Obviously, Jeff is not from the Philippines. So, but why Mindanao?
But we said we wanted to build a village, and they said, why not Tagum? And Tagum is as good as anywhere to me. It is in Mindanao. Now, Myrcia's mother is from Iligan City, which is Mindanao.
Oh.
So, but it's not, they're not close, but Mindanao is, as far as I was concerned, if there's people that need houses, I don't care where they are. Let's build houses.
Yeah, right. That's where the most need are.
Yeah.
So that's where the land is available. The land is ready. It was donated by the mayor of Tagum. And so the funding is there. All we have to do is build the houses. Though I am not from Tagum, I am okay anywhere as long as for the poorest of the poor.
Right. No, so, I asked that because so the fundraising we started for the GK Hope Ball, that wasn't the start of our fundraising. We started fundraising for North Cotabato Productivity Hub before the GK Hope Ball, but we wanted to sort of, I guess, introduce the project to, you know, our area here through the GK Hope Ball. And, you know, some people would ask, why would you build in Mindanao? You know, and a lot of us are from Luzon, right? The three major areas were up, you know, like up the Philippines, right? Like, why would we build in Mindanao? And, you know, so Myrcia in one of her, you know, articles that she's written said, why not Mindanao, right? So the question is not why Mindanao, but why not Mindanao? Or why not anywhere, like you said, Myrcia, you know, help is needed, right? And so I was just curious to know if there was like, you know, some kind, and it's okay too, if you want to build or help out in your own hometown, right? If help is needed there, obviously, right? Because, you know, there's always, help is needed everywhere, really, right? But, you know, like you said, wherever help is needed and where the people are ready, the infrastructure is ready, that's where we go, right? So before we continue on, let me just greet some of the people who are greeting us on Facebook. Tito Charlie Kapati, he's in Saloja, Myrcia and Donna. Hello, Tito Charlie. Thank you for joining us. And yes, our friend, Direct Jepoy from the guy who filmed those two villages. We're coming up with a couple of documentaries, really, like one for the Myrcia groundbreaking turnover of the homes, and then also another village in Macabebe, Pampanga, that we also, you know, we also filmed. So thank you so much, Direk, for doing that. From Maricel, hello from Manila, Gentle Giant and Miss Oklahoma. Oh, okay, so I have a question on that. And then from Boeing Dulce Rivera, hi. From Chrissy Saplala, hi, Tita Myrcia and Tita Jeff. All right. So I was told, Myrcia, that you have a busy, long life career as a mom and a grandmother, among other things. But also, you're quite busy with ballroom dancing. You're a tennis player. You're a civic worker, Bible student. So where do you find time? Like, people think that, you know, like if you don't have a full-time job, that you shouldn't be busy, but I'm looking at the things that you're involved in, right? So how is that, you know, where do you find time to do, you know, work for GK?
I do all of this regularly, you know, that's my routine every morning. I jazzercise and then I play tennis and then I'm busy, but that's every other day. You know, I don't do it all at once.
Yeah.
But Mondays, I do all of this. I do Bible study. And then, but GK, I make time for that. And I do all my work in my closet. In a small area where I can really concentrate on what I'm gonna do for it. Yeah.
I see Jeff shaking his head. What does that mean?
She spends a lot
now.
Now she spends a lot of time in her closet. It is a good sized closet, but it's still, I don't understand the attraction, but maybe it's to get away from me. Who knows? But she goes and she does all sorts of her work in there.
Yeah, I can gather a lot of ideas in that closet.
Yeah.
So I do, and when, you know, when the Lord speaks to me, that's when I respond. Like, especially what bothers me most is, oh, thank God, there's no calamities. But when there's calamity, I am there to respond quickly. Even doing small events for the country, I do. And there's lots of people that approach me and ask me what they can do through GK. So that's when I get inspired and then start, working.
She also has I'm going to call it a business, but a business makes a profit. What she does is she has maybe a dozen people that will call her up and say, I've been thinking about eating dinuguan. Can you make me some dinuguan? She says yes. Then she calls up the other 11 people that she knows, says, I'm making dinuguan, do you want some? Or whatever it is she's making. And then she delivers it and charges them, but the checks are made out to GK. So there's no profit in this. The only thing that there might be a profit is we get to eat some of the leftovers. And
well, it's profit for nonprofit.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I wanted to ask about that because Myrcia and I have talked about, the different ways to raise funds, right? By, that concept that actually Tita Carol also shared during our GKUSA conference, right? Profit for nonprofit, right? So what kind of profit for nonprofit activities do you do, Myrcia, in your area?
Just for now, I haven't really been active yet. I have maybe after Lenten season, I'm gonna start doing it. But the GK Sarap, that's what we do. We cater, cater food, and then I make, this and that. And some of my friends calls me and say, hey, my son is coming, bringing in some people and his classmates, and then for Thanksgiving. So I said, okay, what do you want? I said, what do you want me to make? Though I'm not really a good cook, but I have the recipe on YouTube. So it's really easy. You just have to follow the recipes. And I have my.
Do you love to cook?
If there's a benefit.
So it's not something that you do as a hobby. So you do it basically for GK.
I do that. Well, I started that. When was that? With our small events, to fund the small events, I have the GK Sarap. And then my granddaughter was still 5 years old, and she helped me, kneading for empanada. She was,
wow.
I got it on film that she was helping me with that fundraiser for the sendong. Yeah, so it started a long time ago. I just have to start doing it again, and because of so many things that happened in the past, like the COVID-19.
Yeah,
that's everything stopped at that time, and I haven't.
No, I love that. I love the GK Sarap idea, and maybe I don't know if you already do it, but maybe also take it one step forward too by maybe inserting, and maybe our communications team can come up with sort of an insert, like when you deliver the whatever trays of food or whatever, maybe you can, or maybe even include a flyer, right? Because we already have the flyers that
there was a flyer made by Lovely. Was it? Chrissy made me some flyers.
Yeah, Chrissy's watching. Yeah.
And I have friends that are like, for example, dinuguan. I'm not good at making dinuguan. My friends will make it for GK Sarap.
Oh, nice.
There's help. All I have to do is ask and tell them that, ask them if they can, share their recipe or make it for GK, and they do. Yeah.
So she is very shy, except when it comes to GK. when we've had some of our fundraisers, we had one where there were 300 people came, and she went to the butcher, the meat company here in town, and they gave her 200 chicken breasts. And that wasn't enough for 300, so she went, and by the time we were done, she had coerced local businesses out of about 500 chicken breasts and 20 dozen eggs to make her flan. What else did you have with it?
Oh, we made, I think that was for Sendo, the Sendo benefit dance. We made, because our, one of our partners, are from, where's that George is from?
Iloilo.
From Iloilo. So they make the inasal. So that's where I solicited chicken breast for the chicken inasal dinner that we made for the Sendong benefit dance.
Yeah.
And then friends made leche flan, and then it was
yeah. Well, that's also a great way of introducing our Filipino culture, right? If we make like Filipino dishes like that, like the inasal, it's not too strange for non-Filipinos, right? Because inasal is just basically, actually dinuguan is a little bit more.
Well, the Americans love the chicken inasal.
What's that?
The Americans love the chicken inasal.
Yeah, because I mean, that's a little bit more.
At this benefit, there were two benefits where Myrcia coerced me into dancing. What was the dance?
Mazurka, Boholana.
Oh, I don't dance at all.
It is
Neither do I. And there's people who've seen me.
So he danced. Oh, we need to expose that video. There were about 5 couples.
Yeah.
That were wearing barong. Husbands are Americans, and they danced the mazurka at my event. It was really cool.
And I don't want to do it again.
Yes, you will.
You gotta have some fun.
So, and by the way,
he was very good actually.
It was.
It's waltz, right? Was it waltz?
All I know is that it was over. So.
All right. So we already established, Jeff, that you do not like dancing.
Yes.
But you retired a while back, right? In 2022, so 3 years, not that long ago, I guess. 3 years ago was when you retired. Was that right? Is that right?
I retired, but I retired on December 31st. And the next day I just transitioned to a subsidiary of the company I worked for 40 years. And I've, this company only allows me to work 1,500 hours a year, so 3/4 time. And so I retired.
He retired, but his projects did not retire.
So, and one of my projects is sitting next to me.
Well, that's I think that's a never-ending project, John. I don't think there's a deadline for that one. But so you work as a consultant in the energy industry?
I was a school teacher for 4 years right out of college.
Okay.
But I learned 2 things. I didn't like starvation, and I didn't like 13-year-old girls giggling all the time. And so one of my students' fathers hired me in the summer to be a human computer, because in the 1970s there were no computers, and I was a human computer. And I found that they paid better, and I like the work better. Yeah. Teaching is way too hard for the amount of money that you get. I've never had a job that hard.
And so we salute all teachers, right? We have a lot of also Filipino.
But it takes a special type of person.
Yes.
And so I was never that special kind of person. I thought I was going to be, but I wasn't. So I moved on.
Energy and services.
But the type of work that I did, my company worked with the rural electric cooperatives in the United States. There's 1,000 of them, or there was at one time.
Yeah.
And after working for about 15 years, I was considered an expert. And we got a call, my boss got a call from the Philippines and said, we've got 120 electric cooperatives in the Philippines operating on the same business model as the United States. We need a consultant to come to the Philippines, consultants to come. Mm-hmm. So my boss and I went, and then he left me. And while I was working for the Energy Regulatory Board, they decided I needed somebody to be an assistant. And so they assigned Myrcia to be my assistant and to help me out. And she helped me out so much that I married her. So.
Oh my goodness, that's so sweet. So that's how you guys met.
Yes. So.
That's fun.
So it was, but because at that time the U.S. government was interested in doing the same kind of work, they sent me to Bangladesh for 3 months, where there were 60 electric cooperatives. Myrcia came to visit me at the end of that tour, or near the end, and we walked through some of the neighborhoods in Bangladesh, and her comment was, wow, these people have much more poverty than in the Philippines. And so we have, so I've worked in Bangladesh and India and a number of places where there is monetary poverty. I also, in the 95 era, when the Soviet Union broke up, we went to Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and so forth, where people had houses, but no religion. They had a poverty of the soul. And so I've seen poverty, and it just hurts. So when GK said, we're going to end poverty, I said, count me in.
Awesome, that's amazing. And you're right? I love what you said. When you see poverty, it hurts, right? When you come face to face with it, it hurts. Like when in the Philippines, like we see poverty every day, right? You see the shanties, the slums, and all of that, right? But there, as Dylan would put it, it becomes part of the landscape. You kind of get immune to it because you see it every day and you don't really know until you actually set foot, right, in those communities and see how bad it really is. And it does hurt you. You gotta, there's gotta be something wrong with you if it doesn't bother you, if it doesn't disturb you one way or another, right? So, and to the point where you, like you said, Jeff, you want to do something about it, right? When this opportunity came from GK for us to help out, we're in, So I'd like to read a couple more messages here from Sonia Capon. Hello. From Chrissy again. Hi, Tita Myrcia. I hope you get my email on GK Sarap. Ang sasarap ng variety ng viands or dishes, right? So there you go. And then From Direct Jepoy, he says, aside from flyers, you can customize food packaging or put sticker on it with info about GK and where the proceeds will go, and also how to be to be a GK sponsor or member. Thank you for that tip, Direct. Actually, Direct Jepoy is based in the Philippines. I worked with him when I worked at, we worked together at GMA Network. So we worked on a couple of projects together. And he was also our director for Film Now, which was a show that we had on GMA Pinoy TV. And so his background is in marketing also. He's a director, but he's, he helps out. He creates commercials for businesses and stuff like that. So also from Allison at Pamusano, she says hello. Hi, Allison. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Yeah. So what else did I wanted to talk about? Oh, okay. Any future plans for this year? Any events that you're planning to mount or anything like that?
Hopefully there will be one. And I just need, for the Lenten season to be over and I can focus on it.
Right.
Yeah. But there will be one. Maybe I'm going to have another Hope Philippines 6.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Hope Philippines 6. That will be around December, right? During the Wow G.
Yeah, around maybe we can do it in November.
Yeah. That's cool.
Because I always do my events in November.
Yeah. Which is in the Filipino culture, Christmas starts in September.
Oh yeah, that's
which is remember crazy, but yeah, that's how we love Christmas.
I remember, Donna, the Hope Philippines 2. We had I think GMA promoted our event. GMA is that GMA Live TV? Part.
Yes. Maybe Glenda sent me the event and I put it on there. Because I was
that was in 2015.
Okay.
So you were there.
No, I was already back here. But I continue to consult for them.
Okay.
Awesome. Do you remember when you had your GK Tagum village, and then you had another one, the OK, right? OK GK village.
That's the Tagum.
Oh, both are in Tagum, or do you have
OK GK village is in Tagum.
Okay.
Just one village.
Just one, and then we have another one in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila and Marie Legacy Village.
Our
daughter's village.
Oh, nice. And where's that? Where's that village?
In Consuelo, Macabebe, Pampanga.
Oh, thank you. I'm from Pampanga. Thank you for doing
You are?
Yes.
It's there.
I'm a very proud Kapampangan. Oh, you know what, Consuelo? Now I remember. Direct, isn't that one of the villages that you documented? GK Consuelo? I think that's what I saw in the video. Because I've seen the rough draft of the video. But so when you turned over the homes, were you there? How was that experience? Were you there when the recipients received their homes?
No, we've not been to a turnover ceremony.
Not even in the Tagum one?
Myrcia.
Oh, the Tagum, yeah, we haven't, but my sister was there.
Okay.
For the Tagum turnover.
Yeah.
But we haven't been to any. So they turned over the homes without us.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I actually have not been to a GK village other than the GK Enchanted Farm. And so so I'm going home next month. Well, actually, I will be in the Philippines first week of May, and I will stay in Pampanga. So I hope to visit Tito Charlie's village, Tito Charlie, and the one in Consuelo, Macabebe also. I want to see you know, but these are, you know, GK villages already, not the, I would have loved to see, because back in the day, 20 years ago when we started, they talk about like how the stark comparison between a, you know, like a community where GK has not, you know, has not been there, has not helped out, or has not touched yet, you know, like how the behavior of the people were and how just the environment and all of that compared to like a GK village, it's like night and day, right? And we're not only talking about the homes, right? Because obviously, you know, they live in shanties and then, you know, build homes for them. Obviously, that's a big difference. But they were talking about like how like the children are, you know, like happier, you know, and more respectful and, you know, and more disciplined. And, you know, because with Gawad Kalinga, we also teach values formation, right? And not only among kids, but also among the adults, right? So I love that about what we do about Gawad Kalinga. But I've always been the storyteller like this, or like, I guess not even the storyteller, because you guys are the storyteller. I kind of just facilitate the story. I've never been to a GK village. So my good friend, Direk Jepoy here actually beat me to it because she's been to a couple already. So, but that's in my agenda when I get home. But yeah, so I just wanted to, I don't want to preempt anything, but Direk Jepoy and his team documented the turning over of the homes and, you know, and how the people reacted, you know, the recipients of the homes, how they were feeling and everything. And it was just really, I was just in tears while I was watching the video. And it was just really, you know, it's very heartwarming. You know, it's heartbreaking that they tell you their, you know, their background, their story before they, you know, before GK found them. And to now, it's just really, it's really inspiring. It makes our job, our work here even more meaningful, right? All right, so I'd like to ask for your final thoughts, final things that you'd like to share with our GK family here. But in the meantime, I'd like to share an event that is happening on April 16. And this is the SICAD Bike Ride 2023, Cycling to Rebuild a Nation. Right there, it's going to be April 16th. It starts at 8 a.m. at the Yorba Regional Park. Right there. So you can choose to do a 22, 44, or 60 miles for all you bike enthusiasts, right? For all you cyclists. So you can choose any of these distances, 22, 44, or 60 miles. Proceeds will benefit the Gawad Kalinga's seed program, all right? So register today. The link is on our GK USA page and also I think GK USA Facebook page. And I believe it's also in our website, right? gk-usa.org. And yeah, so proceeds will benefit the Gawad Kalinga Seed program. If you have, you can also register on the SICAD website, www.sicad.org. Or call Ray at 562-964-1445. When you register, you will receive a race kit that includes a commemorative SICAD jersey, and snacks and drinks, and also a post-ride lunch, authentic Filipino food. So for those of you who are craving Filipino food or want to know about Filipino food, that is going to be included in what you will be receiving when you register. There's a couple more. There's a lot of people. See, Jen was so worried that there won't be any people who will be watching tonight. But look, we have quite a few friends over here. So Irene Adriana says, hello po, Adriana Layug. Oh, Layug is a Kapampangan last name, so I wonder if she's from Pampanga. And also hi from Tito June and Tita Maria Rafinhan. All right. So any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Well, you know, the Macabebe village that we share with Texas GK was built, you know, halvesies, or at least I hope that's the way it was, is that, you know, it's the doctor told me I have dry eye syndrome. So if you see me cry, it's not me really having tears because I'm a tough guy, but it's the dry eye syndrome. But you know, our daughter died from lupus, and because Myrcia is a nice person, she bought an insurance policy on our two kids from our Filipino friends that are insurance agents. But when our daughter died, there was a huge check that came our way unexpectedly. And we used that check to build the village. And
oh, wow, so beautiful.
So our daughter lives on in those 20 households that we built in Macabebe. And we visited frequently, where we send money in advance to have a lechon dinner
every
so
anniversary.
Our goal is, you know, we've provided funds to build houses, onesies and twosies, and we could, you know, Oklahoma is, you know, Myrcia's making me wear this cowboy hat so I look like a real Oklahoman. This is the second time I wore the hat after the day I bought it. But Oklahoma is not a place but according to the census, there's about 5,000 Filipinos living in the Oklahoma City area. That's not a large enough community to continue, you know, to build whole villages by ourselves. But luckily, the Houston people have allowed us to team with them and to help with their villages. And that's the goal is going forward, is that, you know, we will raise funds to help here and there as needed. And when there's only 5,000 Filipinos in a community, many of them hide when they see Myrcia and I, because they know they're going to get hit up for GK. And so they can avoid me, but Myrcia is too persistent. And so our goal is that, you know, the way I like to say it is that, you know, people point out that Jesus said in the Bible that you'll always have poor among you. My goal is to know that last poor family. See, I told you I have dry eye syndrome. It hurts to know there are people that are not eating, that have no houses, while I have so much. So it's our plan to continue working with GK and to make what little impact we can. But as you know, when our GK village did not build out completely, Boy Montalibano pointed out that there are families that we changed their lives. We just didn't change as many lives as we wanted. So, and so one of the other boys that's in my life, you know, so,
yeah.
So for a long time, I thought, you know, I knew all there was to know about the Philippines. I thought Joker Arroyo was a comedian. Pops Fernandez was an old guy. And what's the I forget there. The longer I go, the more I've learned about the Philippines, the more I know how little I really understand what's going on there.
Well, so, thank you for sharing that, Jeff.
Sorry.
Everything you said was just heartwarming and beautiful. Maricel says, Jeff and Myrcia's experience didn't end in pity. It hurt because they loved. So true. Thank you for that, Maricel. Yeah. Tita Carol says, I share. Oh, Tita Carol Tulud says, thanks, Jeff and Myrcia, for partnering with GK Texas. We love you both and appreciate you. And she says, your hat looks good, Jeff. And then she also says, I share those tears and overwhelming love you have in your heart. So I think she just had a roller coaster of emotions right there because
Yes.
you were emotional and then you start joking. So I think she was
but see, ultimately, I was brought up that guys are supposed to be tough and not cry. So
I think the guys
when I cry, I have to deny it after the fact.
Yeah. I think the guys who are okay or comfortable, being seen crying are tougher than the toughest guys. That's just me, So, but thank you for sharing your heart, Jeff. I mean, I understand. I know where you're coming from because I'm not a guy, obviously. But I mean, being vulnerable is difficult, right? But I think we're not being vulnerable for ourselves. We're vulnerable for people who need our help because we've seen how many people are suffering, right? And and we saw how much we can do and how much needs to be done. Right? Like you said, we have enough, maybe more than enough for many of us. But there's so much more. So then we have surplus, right? There's so much more we can give, but even if we give till it hurts, there's still so much work to do. And that's why we continue what we do, right? We try to, to reach out to as many people as possible, spread, the work of GK to as many people as possible. Final thoughts from you, Myrcia, but before that, Direct Jeff says, wow, you guys really demonstrate the love of God through your lives. May the Lord continue to bless you and use you for his glory. And then from Chrissy, sending love. Thank you so much for caring for the poor and the poor. And then from Maricel, maraming salamat, Myrcia and Jeff. So any final thoughts, Myrcia, that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Let me close by quoting Saint Elizabeth and Seton. We know certainly that our Lord calls us to a holy life. We know that he gives us every grace, every abundant grace. And though we are so weak of ourselves, this grace is able to carry us through every obstacle and difficulty.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Myrcia and Jeff. Thank you for joining us this evening, for blessing us with your presence and your stories. And I'm pretty sure everyone who's watching us tonight is inspired by your story. And it just, for all of us volunteers who sometimes are a little bit weary, right? We're human. We get tired. We get emotionally tired. We get physically tired. But, when we hear stories like yours, we energized again, right? And we find once again the meaning, not that we ever lost it, but we are reminded of why we are here, right? The meaning of everything that we do. And so again, thank you so much for joining us this evening, Jeff and Myrcia. Happy, and thank you for all you do. Thanks everyone for joining us this evening for another episode of Kwentong GK. Next month's Kwentong GK will be a little bit early. It will be on April 20th. We typically hold our Kwentong GK on the last Thursday of the month, but next month will be the 20th because I will be traveling the last weekend of April, and I will see you guys in the Philippines then for all of our friends. All right, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.